Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Tunde and I'm going to be giving a review on the Red Table Talk. I've only seen, I think, the one with Jordan Woods prior to this. I haven't really entertained too many of these videos, and this was one that was floating on the internet for the past day or so. It just came out yesterday. And I kind of was like reluctant to watch it because I don't want to entertain this, but I also want to see what she has to say or what the Smiths have to say in regards to it. So I was like, maybe they'll educate her. Maybe it'll be actually substantial. But I was actually a little bit more disappointed more than anything. They kind of highlighted her background, that yes, she's privileged, she's white, she's rich, her parents have more than enough money, so it was almost unnecessary for her to come on the Red Table Talk in the first place. But Jada kind of emphasized the fact that she asked to come on here and she's the one who called them to ask to go on. So it's kind of like, okay, you kind of were giving yourself this platform because you know you have access to that first off. What was interesting to me is that Jada's mom was like very adamant and clear, and she wanted to be vocal about it, that she's like, I don't even think she needs to be on here in the first place. Like, she's gonna be all right. She's white, she has money. Regardless of her coming on this table talk, she'll be okay, which is actually very valid. She didn't even need to go on there and she still would be fine. She still has her money to fall back onto her parents, just things like that, despite the endorsements that she lost. Again, just even saying like endorsements and sponsorships is just like a very big millennial this time era kind of thing, that like, I lost a deal with Sephora, but she still has millions. She's still going to be rich regardless of it. So it's like there's things that she lost out on it, but she still, I want to use the word household name, but her mom and her dad obviously are. It was just very interesting to see like the reluctance between Jada's mom and her. Jada was very, very, very much defending the girl Olivia. Like, I just want to give her a platform. I don't want to do to her, a white girl, what happens to us Black people. Like, we're ostracized, we're shut down, we feel like we don't have a space to talk, and I don't want to do that to her because we received that. And it's like, it's not that you're doing that to her, she just didn't need the platform. She already has her own platform. She has her YouTube channel. In the interview, Olivia addresses that, yeah, like, I know I have a big platform, I know kind of like the space I have, I'm privileged. And the thing is, that's the word she used over and over. It was almost like, even though that's like the definition of what the situation was, yes, she does have privilege. It was just like used as an excuse of something. I don't really think she was taking accountability so much for everything that was going on. But that was kind of just like my first intakes from like the first few seconds or so. Willow was there saying like, I understand your perspective, meaning to her mom, and I understand your perspective, her grandma. I'm not really gonna take a side, but I'm like, want to hear everything. I understand that you don't want her here and you do. But like, let's just have this interview basically. Willow, if I'm correct, did not say anything, if hardly anything, that nothing from her stuck to me. If anything, it was just like a lot of, which anyone can nod to something and someone can assume they're listening or they're obtaining any information. That's no shade to her. It's just like, there was just no conversation from her is what it seemed like. Maybe it was just mostly needed to be handled by her mom and the grandma, but she just nodded a lot, didn't say too much. I was like, okay, so it's just kind of Jada, who again was advocating for it. So was she much of someone to really narrate this interview or just have like the dialogue when you were again bringing on someone who really didn't need to be here? Olivia kept emphasizing and emphasizing, I don't want pity, I'm here to try and change my ways. Like, even taking, not even, she didn't take ownership, she was just kind of acknowledging the fact that, yeah, I didn't really even understand what was the issue in the beginning. Like, I didn't know what was going on, I didn't know I was a big deal. I feel like if it was such a big situation that from the very beginning, my parents paid for me to go call, like, that should have already been like a big red flag. I don't know how she's like, I don't know why people are tripping out about it. USC is a very expensive school. School is very expensive. Things like that. Like, it's just a very expensive experience, especially for her to go on her YouTube, I think, right before she got into USC or something, saying like, I'm just here for the partying and the experiences. I hope I get to do like the fun stuff. Like, she knows she didn't need college. She didn't need to go to college. It's just that her parents paid for her to go because they wanted her to like do that, her and her sister. But she's like, yeah, I'm just ready for the parties and the football games, things like that. Like, it took this happening for her to have to take accountability, which she didn't, on the situation. Also, like she said, if I came on the Red Table Talk a year ago, this would have been a completely different conversation. Who knows what she would have talked about? I don't know if they would have had a substantial conversation in the first place. What I don't like, and it's kind of fishy because we will never know, she's like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what my parents are doing. I didn't know that they did that. There was photos of her and I think her sister, like the fake fabricated photos of them taking pictures for cycling, which was like the whole, like, there's, I don't know if it's like a scholarship or whatever, but like they're involved in sports, like an extracurricular. They weren't in it. They said they were fake photos. Like, they just took photos, like they modeled on it. Obviously, if you weren't doing cycling in school, and you took those photos, where did they go? You didn't ask questions. Like, obviously that's very sketchy. You don't take tennis photos or basketball photos but not be on the team. Like, obviously there's some weird stuff. Maybe, again, this girl she's just had money thrown at her, and she's had like everything probably handed to her. So obviously there's maybe she never really needed to ask questions about stuff, but I feel like she could have. And that was what was failed to me. She was just like, yeah, I just didn't know. We didn't know. My parents just paid for everything. But like, again, you could take some ownership for yourself. Like, I could have asked more questions. I could tell that this and this. Like, I just don't think that the talk resolved anything. Not that maybe she expected it to. She also acknowledged the fact that there was a moment of silence where she wasn't saying anything. This happened like almost 2 years ago now. I'm not trying to overestimate the time because it was March 2019. We're in December 2020, but it was like a month from now. It'll be almost 2 months, like 2 years. So it was like a long time ago, but I do, I guess, understand that she was literally legally not able to say anything. It was very much still a trial, a case. Like, there was just things that she couldn't talk about in regards to it. So obviously, yeah, like there was just that whole silence window where she couldn't say anything legally. But I don't know. She also pointed out that she like went into hiding for like 3-4 months to try and like gather her thoughts and just like be out of the spotlight. Not many people have the luxury of being able to go into hiding for 3 months, let alone 1 month, and be able to say you have income and you're secured and you're protected. Like, she just essentially dropped out of school, stopped doing YouTube, didn't have her sponsorships, wasn't on Instagram, but still has millions of dollars to fall back onto, her family to fall back into, all that whole like, she was always protected. She's still protected. So again, I'm not saying that she said she never was, but again, regardless of this red table talk, she still survived that time. And yeah, like people didn't really forget about her. Like, she kind of just came back, I think slowly, like this year or so, when everything started to like, yeah, like her parents are gonna get put to jail, you know. But I don't know. It's a very interesting situation. I'm not really a fan of the interview. The grandma, again, was vocal to her face as well, saying like, yeah, I'm not really a fan of you being here. I don't really think it's necessary. And Olivia's like, yeah, I want you to tell me this. I want to learn. I'm almost surprised she didn't cry, because that was her. I cried from the confrontation of most of it. But she just, again, was like, I know I had privilege. I understand that. Like, I don't know if she so much said privilege due to her skin. I think she kind of separated her money privilege versus her white privilege, because there's two different things. They're kind of together, one entity, but white privilege is like an up here to me, and then money kind of just adds that extra layer. So, I mean, she's 21. There's still a lot of time to grow, but I'm kind of curious to like see what she does after this. She was stating that she wants to not only come here to learn, but also like kind of put actions to it, not just like throw money, which is what a lot of people do, which does go a long way for those people, like that you donate the money to the charities and stuff. But she's saying how she wants to like learn more about certain causes and get money to it and like speak out about it. I don't know if she will. We don't know. There's a lot of time in the future for her to, I guess, like actually back that information up. She can just say, I'm gonna do this, and people are like, oh my gosh, she's gonna do things. She needs to do those things for us to actually believe it and see if she's gonna do it. Like, follow through with it. She can do it for a year, fall off, and like, oh, I did it for a month, and I did this, and I spoke out of here, but like, I don't know. It's just very interesting to see how this will be. She also kind of said that she hasn't spoken to her family since they've been sentenced, I guess due to COVID things. That's like very wild to me. But it's also interesting that like she came on here, but not her sister. But I also think her sister is not so much like a socialite in the sense of the internet. So maybe she kind of acknowledges that she doesn't need to come on here to speak about anything. She's in hiding. Like, I don't say she should be. They can't be in hiding forever. At some point you have to come out and stuff. But like, Olivia is like the only one who felt the need to come on here. And it was interesting that Jada's mom was like, it's interesting that she decided to come to a thing with 3 Black women, like of all places, or for what reason, when she didn't need to. Again, it was not needed. A story that I also kind of want to focus on that a lot of people paralleled to this, as well as myself, was the story of the Black mother who was sentenced to jail for enrolling her child in a different district. The story of a Black mother who served jail time for using her father's address so that her 2 daughters could enroll at a better school. She served 9 days in jail after she was found guilty, and she was put on probation for 3 years and required to do 80 hours of community service. And her story was resurfaced due to all of this going on. Everyone was like, are they even gonna get the same kind of sentencing? Was hers that egregious? It was more of just putting a different zip code so her kids could have a good experience at school and go to a better school than maybe what her zip code was. And I'm like, is that really I'm trying to think of how to say this. Is it that serious that she needs to go to jail for it? I just don't. She was convicted for as a felony. Ohio mother was released from jail on Wednesday after serving 9 days for falsifying records so that her 2 daughters could attend a better school. She was convicted by jury of using her father's address to claim residency that would allow her children to attend a higher performing suburban school. While her sentence was light in terms of jail time, she was put on probation for 2 years in order to complete 80 hours of community service. The conviction may threaten her ability to get the teaching license she was working on. It's like she was just trying to get a better education for her kids, whereas I'm not going to say that that's not what Lori Loughlin, I forgot what her last name is, but you know, Olivia Jade's mom or parents were doing, but it's like they paid money. They paid thousands of dollars and essentially it faked her scores and everything like that. Like, it's just, she was paid to get into this school that some people can't even get into and they dream to go to and they just don't have the money for it or maybe the resources to get into it. Whereas the mom just changed the zip code to her. It was a family member, not even some like fake address of someone she doesn't know and things like it was a family member, and she got a felony for it and potentially couldn't have her license to go continue her career to also better the life for her children. It just shows the differences in, like, again, skin color, not so much just money, but skin color. Although I guess if she had more money, she could be living in a different zip code, but that's just the whole things of redlining racial disparities in regards to like money. Like, the mother just didn't have the resources, obviously, and that was what she tried to do, just to, again, help them, and she got reprimanded for it. She potentially ruined her whole life due to this. Whereas Olivia Jade's mom and the father, yeah, they'll have this record on the back of their heads, but they'll still have their money. They'll have their millions to fall back onto. They're not going to, like, never going to work again. People are still going to hire them or whatever. I'm not really sure so much about the husband, but she's still going to get money. They still have money. It's just like, it wasn't needed to come onto this Red Talk. I don't know. I acknowledge, or I'm aware that Olivia said hundreds of times that she understands and that she's willing to learn. I just need her to back that up after this. I don't want us to see the Red Table Talk and forget about her, because that would kind of almost counteract what she said. Like, are you really going to do things to better yourself and to learn from the situation and help people who need the assistance from your money or your resources? Or you're just on here, we're never going to hear from you again, because that would be stupid. And this whole discussion was for what? Just to get your name out and said that you went to talk to 3 Black women on their platform for, I don't know. I just wish that maybe Jada would have listened to her mama. Her mom said, I don't want her on here. I fought you on this. She doesn't need this. There's just other, like, she called to come on because she thought this was a safe, she was like, I thought this was like a non-judging zone and this was like a place for me to learn. You realize that you have to learn from Black women. There's obviously a lot of things that I didn't discuss, or it was, how long was this video? The video was approximately 30 minutes. There's obviously things I probably missed. I wasn't taking notes throughout the thing. I was just like watching it like, okay, if that's what you think you're going to gain from this or allegedly going to gain from this, go off then. But please comment down below and let's have a discussion about this further. Because again, I just kind of was giving my thoughts of what I remembered without being like rolling my eyes about it, because it was kind of still just like, okay, like get off of this. But very interesting, was not expected. I kind of forgot about her despite like her parents being locked up. But let me know what y'all think in the comments and see y'all in the next video. Bye.